Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the southern portion of the U.S. today. So let's go ahead and take a look at your big headlines today. Storms down to the south. From the mid-south to the Tennessee Valley, we're watching for mainly a wind threat here, but some smaller hailstones could definitely sneak in there. Now, what we're going to do on this forecast is have a weather recap from our very busy beginning of the work week. We saw roofs lost in Sallisaw last night, and we had three-star hail maps so far this week. It's been pretty busy, especially for September standards. We are also looking to the Atlantic, where it's a tale of two storms. Yes, we have two cyclones most likely to form by the end of this week, if not this weekend. How will they interact with each other? How close will they come to the U.S.? I actually want to start there today. So we see Gabrielle, it's weakening, it's moving to the east away from the U.S. It's a fish storm for the most part right now. But we have two other areas that we are keeping an eye on as they get closer and closer to the U.S. We have AL94 and AL93. And we'll talk about the track of these. We'll talk about the potential strength of these storms as well. And what does this mean that they're so close together? We'll have a look at that here in just a few minutes. But let's go ahead and talk about what we saw over the last 72 hours. And hey, by the way, are you in town next week, October 6th, or I guess that's a week and a half from today? Our CEO, Derek Klein, is speaking at RoofCon. Go over to roofcon-2025/Oklahoma for your RoofCon tickets. You want to see Derek Klein speak. He's a phenomenal speaker, and he's going to have a master class at RoofCon in just about a week and a half. Now let's go ahead and talk about all the things that we saw over the last 72 hours. This is your Premier Claims impact zone. So one of the first things that we saw on Sunday evening was two supercells just to the north of Dallas, Texas. So between Sanger, Texas, and then Sherman into Weston, Texas, we saw two supercells producing some pretty impactful hail here. Maximum hail size was 2 inches, and there were about 1,300 buildings impacted. You can see that highlighted there in red. Now I want to go up to the north. I want to go into Minneapolis, or Minnetonka, to be more specific, where we also saw a 2-inch max hail size recorded in this area, actually two more supercells. So we had two storms in Dallas, two impressive ones just outside of Minneapolis. In this area, about 3,600 buildings impacted. Now, why are we telling you about these storms if they happened 2 days ago? Well, we are partnering with Premier Claims to talk about not just the homes impacted, but the structures, the commercial buildings in this area. And in just a few minutes, we'll give you a QR code. So get your phones ready to scan that QR code, and you can get a starter list for all of the commercial, or some of the commercial structures impacted in this area. Our next storm on the list here is Fremont, Nebraska. That highlighted there in red with another 2-inch size hailstone, just a little bit larger than the size of an egg. About 1,300 buildings impacted in this area. So here you go. Go ahead and get your phones out. Scan the QR code to get over 900 commercial buildings that were hit by hail this week. And we appreciate Premier Claims for helping to provide this list to you. Get a free lead list today. Scan that QR code, and we will put the link in the description of this video. We'll also put it in the comments section at the very end of this video as well. Alrighty, moving on now. So over the last 72 hours, and also, hey, I forgot to tell you, while you're scanning this QR code, let's take a look at that Dallas storm one more time. Okay, take a look at this video. Chloe's going to show some video right now, and this is out of Dallas. This is actually out of Anna, Texas. A very impressive storm here. Now, two supercells dropped massive hail just to the north of Dallas. Holy moly. Now, what our videographer here from Anna, Texas was saying is that they think that both of their brand new 2025 cars are destroyed. They said this was a devastating hailstorm for them. This second video that you're seeing right here just shows how much hail fell in this area. Actually, Lacey J on Threads was saying we may need a plow. They were calling this Hailmageddon. Just an absolutely phenomenal video there. They also got some great hail fog after all of that hail dropped. So basically what happens is we've got some cooler air as this fog is melting that rises just above the surface, interacts with that really, really moist, warmer air this time that we have normally this time of the year, and it creates fog at the surface thanks to that hail. Alrighty, moving on from all of that weather nerd stuff, don't forget to scan this QR code and get your lead list of 900 plus commercial buildings that were hit by hail this week. Moving on to what we saw last night. Now we do have some high wind that we saw in Oklahoma last night. This area that we highlighted in red for you yesterday was the target for that strong wind late last night. We saw some high wind, some large hail every now and then. We even had a tornado watch for a good portion of the evening. Let me show you some videos that came out of Pafford or Sallisaw, Oklahoma, thanks to the Pafford Medical Services in this area. Now, there was a roof blown off of a hospital in this area, and thankfully, the Pafford Medical Services were able to remove all of the people, the residents who needed to be removed from that hospital and relocate them in a safer location. What a very, very busy start to the work week. Now, what are we going to see today? We've got a low pressure system setting up across the central portion of Arkansas right now. To the south of that, we've had a lot of rain across southern Texas, most of Louisiana. That's where we're watching for our next round of storms later on today. You've got a few showers and storms across the northeast, pretty dry across the southeast right now, and pretty dry across the west as well. Current temperatures are a lot cooler today than what they were this time yesterday, drier as well, not as humid out there, which I think a lot of people are grateful for. What about that hail risk for today? We've got that hail risk mainly in either northern to southern Arkansas. I actually want to highlight an area down in southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and the central to western side of Mississippi. Now, this area could have some clustered storms that are a bit stronger than the rest of our storms today. But overall, you can see that we're really struggling to get any of those yellow colors on the map today. We're struggling to get any hail on the map today. If you're lucky, maybe we could see golf ball size hail, but I think it's very, very unlikely. What we'll probably see here is quarter to maybe $half size hail in these areas highlighted here in yellow. That extends anywhere from Nashville to Jackson, Mississippi. Honestly, I think Jackson probably has the best shot here. Are we having some...
So it looks like the slider's not showing up again, so it just keeps playing over and over, so I'm not sure.
That's okay, we can go right back up.
Okay,
Scroll up. There you go.
Okay,
there you go.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. You guys, the technology this week has not been our friend. I feel like, have you guys had like a slow week? The first few days of fall maybe felt a little slower to you. Technology, they're on the same path. They're feeling a little bit slow this week. Alrighty, moving on here. So there's your hail forecast. Let's move on to your wind forecast. 65 to 70 mile per hour wind speeds are possible today. I think it's going to be pretty isolated for strong winds. So I have everyone highlighted in that risk level, highlighted there in green, these icons, a level 1. Jackson to Nashville to Houston to Corpus Christi, all in the path for storms today. I do not expect any of those to go tornadic. We have a very low tornado risk today. Alrighty, moving on, let me show you just how widespread this rain is going to stretch all the way down from the southern side of Texas into the southeastern portion of the U.S., up to the Midwest, and even New England states getting some rain today. But again, where are we watching for the strongest storms? I would head back down to the south. All of those areas highlighted in green, that's where you can see the strongest storms today. Again, especially with some of these storms that are moving from southeastern Arkansas into the eastern portion of Louisiana and western Mississippi. I think those are going to be some of the strongest storms that we're watching for today. Moving on from Dallas, let's go to your flood risk today. Obviously, we've got a lot of rain in this area, so we could absolutely see some flooding. We've got at a level 2, a scattered potential for flood risk today, a potential for scattered flooding. There you go, scattered flash flooding at that level 2 highlighted there in yellow, anywhere from Texas all the way up to Tennessee. We get a break from all of these storms for tomorrow. So tomorrow it looks like we'll have storms on the East Coast, but for the most part it'll be a wind risk. Other than that, I'm not too worried about the storms tomorrow. Let's go out to the Atlantic now. I want to show you that we have 3 areas of concern in the Atlantic right now. That first one is something that we've been talking about for several days. Gabrielle is a Category 2 hurricane right now, just downgraded over the last 12 hours. You can see that spinning as a fish storm out in the middle of the Atlantic. But we have two other areas, two, that we are watching for right now to organize themselves over the next few days into our next tropical cyclones. What does that mean? Tropical storm? A hurricane? Yeah, I think that's absolutely possible. Now, I hate to show our long-term models because I think oftentimes they don't paint the full picture of what's going to happen. But why I'm showing this right here is because I want you to see how close these storms are to each other. Watch this as these storms really follow a very similar or parallel track here. They're both moving to the northwest. They're pretty close. They keep about the same distance between each other until we get into the end of the weekend. They will interact with each other at one point. And what we're seeing here is a potential Fujiwara effect going on. Basically what that means is that we have a center point between these two low pressure systems, and they'll essentially spin around each other, impacting each other's track. So we're going to have to watch this very carefully as we watch that phenomenon take place, just because of their proximity to each other. Now let's break this down a little bit further. So what we see right now are two areas of low pressure. Not very impressive. They're over 1,000 millibars each, so it's a pretty weak low pressure at this point. However, we are seeing some development, especially from this area right here, highlighted in red on the right side or center of your screen. So this area, we have a 90% chance for cyclone formation over the next 48 hours. I actually think in the next 24 hours, we'll probably have our next named storm. So for the forecast tomorrow, we'll probably have a named storm here, most likely Humberto. Now this is Invest 93L right now, however, probably a different name tomorrow. Wind speeds right now at 35 miles an hour, moving to the west-northwest at about 20 miles an hour, pretty fast movement for this type of storm. Now winds at 30 miles an hour for Invest 94L, this one has a little bit more time. I think by the end of this week, if not early this weekend, this will turn into our next named storm, which I think is Imelda. Again, moving to the northwest here, expected to drop a ton of rain to some of these outer islands. So these are our two areas of concern. 30% chance for tropical cyclone formation over the next 48 hours, 80% chance by this weekend. Again, here's your named storms. Humberto and Imelda will most likely be named as we head into this weekend. So we're starting to get those numbers up for your Atlantic hurricane season. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow as well. I want to make sure that every single day we're updating you on these storms across the Atlantic. Now let's take you back onto land. Let's talk about the temperatures out there right now. It's cooler today thanks to that cold front that came through. That cold front that produced all of those storms late last night is now cooling us off today. That's why temperatures feel a little bit more comfortable out there, feeling more like fall today. Tomorrow, temperatures will warm back up, and we see that warming trend continue as we head into the weekend. So we're talking about temperatures most likely back into the 80s before you know it. Enjoy the 70s right now because the 80s will absolutely return. Here we've got 83 in Oklahoma City on Friday, 87 on Saturday, 79 in Kansas City, and we've even got some 90s trying to peek through down in Texas. Now let's talk about long-term temperatures here. Whew. Yeah. Looks pretty warm as we head into the end of September and early October. So by October 3rd, we'll most likely see temperatures still above average and a good amount of rain on the west coast. That's really good to see because that helps to mitigate our fire season. And then a little bit of rain on the east coast as well, where the central portion of the U.S. stays dry, but I'm not too worried about this dry slaw right here. Alrighty, moving on. Thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. We appreciate you taking a look back on the last 72 hours of storms. We saw a lot of hail this week, and we saw a lot of wind as well. We'll post that video on our YouTube pages, so make sure that you follow us over there. We are also pretty active on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, so follow us on all of those social media sites as well. And give us a call if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Head over to our website for more information, hailtrace.com. All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here for your forecast, same time, same place tomorrow.